Okay, so we got the update, right? Now, another reason why I'm not really big on aesthetics, I want to look always nice and presentable, but I want you to more be paying attention to what I'm saying than me as far as my looks and my. I want you to like hear the stuff in case you got a message in there. That'd be my purpose for speaking. Um, Now okay, the update. Now I've prayed and practiced and I feel God has given me a word, so I'll do my best to get it out the way I feel it's been imparted to me. Disclaimer, keep in mind as I speak that I'm using the vocabulary that I have thus far to cover a multitude of concepts. There may be many other words or scenarios not covered or mentioned in my speech, but you'll understand them to mean or equal out as exactly what I'm saying. In other words, my intent here today is that you'll have a fuller picture in your own circumstances while I'll be speaking in general from mine. This is not only an informative session, but also a call to action. Things must and will change. Here's some things I've experienced and my proposed solutions to said things. While not an end all be all, it's a good starting point. From where I stand, we need an update as a whole. A lot of problems, stresses, and inconveniences that cause health problems come from old and outdated thoughts, ways of being, policies, and procedures. Things, while at one point serve their purpose, at this point hinder health progression and peace. It's complex, but as I'm speaking, you should recognize your position in the update if you have one, and you must act on your call because it's going to take everyone doing everything they know to do in their sphere to pull it off in our favor. Discrimination. In my experience, impoverished, poor, and otherwise unconnected people go through constant gentrification in some form. No one else in America goes through more abuse than someone being constantly told through words, rules, and culture that they need to change or are not enough and must or should be like someone else to deserve their basic respect, humane treatment, and the right to speak up for themselves. Discrimination can be complex, but I've seen what I believe to be an issue in the areas of authority and respect. The sooner we address and fix discriminatory issues, the sooner we can solve real social issues. From one side, I've seen people looking as if the traits of another were in ill taste and maybe something they didn't want to pass on or live on. For example, loud music or loud talking, sagging, or even using slang language. And while these things may not be what you're used to being around, they shouldn't stop a public service worker from doing their job, nor should they stop a person from being able to advance in life. As leaders, employees, and good humans, identifying and dismantling discrimination is our job. When a person enters where you work, your only focus should be your job. Do they need what do they need and how well and timely you can get that done. Choosing to choosing to do anything not outlined in your specific procedural guidelines or job requirement or set policy and procedure is discrimination. If you discriminate against a people, you have to expect the worst. So that we can build the world we all want to see, we must do our jobs properly and not discriminate against or with anyone. Practical suggestions are clear recourses for discrimination. Um, it should be available to any client or customer or whatever, how to report or get something done, at least investigated on being discriminated against. And that place shouldn't be, the person that they're saying has done the harm to them. It should be a place. I don't know how we're gonna come up with a place or if there's a place, but like I said, this is a good place to start. Clear guidelines on job positions, like what people are supposed to do, how they can do what they're supposed to do, and like everybody on the job or in a specific position should know what they're allowed to do and not to do. For instance, when I go in a place and I ask for some paperwork, like I've done, and I ask for some paperwork, and the lady sees the case numbers. I go to ask for some case numbers at the courthouse, and the lady sees the case numbers, but instead of just offering me the case, giving me the case numbers as I've asked, she look at them and then she like, oh, let me go at, and I'm like, you see them right there. Why you can't just give me the case numbers? That's discrimination. Y'all cannot have y'all own little whatever y'all want to have, talking behind people's back, doing conflicts of interest, discussing people's cases and different opinions about the case, and telling people what you want to tell them and not giving them the information that is on their file. That is discrimination. Because you're able to if you're able to dictate who's going to just get a case number and walk away, or who's going to get talked about in a case, then you're allowing some people to be regular and do their thing and come in and go out, but you are not allowing other people to come in and do their thing and go out. And that's not fair. If you're not the lawyer, the person presiding over that case, or the judge, that it shouldn't be up to you. So yeah, so everybody should know, like, if that lady should know that she can give me my case numbers, because that's a regular practice. So I asked for the case numbers. She tried to go get them. I'm like, hold on, you see the case numbers right there? Just give them to me. And so she, she's stuttering and shaking and stuff, but she gave me the case numbers, but she got an attitude. And I'm like, that's cool that she got an attitude, but what's the hiding stuff about? When you had this position in a courthouse or a government agency and stuff like that, the burden is on you to show an example of what you expect to see people doing and how you expect to see them behaving in the world. And if you have all of this hidden secrecy, colluding, and all kind of stuff going on, then how can you expect to be making a positive impact in the world, and especially in the criminal world, or the world that needs your help? How can you be expecting to do that? And if you're not doing that, if you're not making a positive impact in the areas or communities that you're supposed to be serving, then why do you have the authority? Why should a person listen to you? Why should you be able to govern anybody or anything? That's the thing that I'm saying. So, as good humans, we should respect our public service workers, as they've proven in some capacity to be fit for service, and have a peaceful process for escalating and reporting. We should utilize the grievance process if we feel we're getting nowhere in a situation, or bring a friend that's good with customer service to help reduce misunderstandings and over emotions. If we all do our part, it will work. Okay. Branching off discrimination, but being very involved. Another thing I've experienced heavily is government and policing authorities, employees, policies, and procedures not adequately serving the communities that may need them or should benefit from them the most. Due to, among other things, outdated policy, not knowing not knowing, being able to, or wanting to do the work it takes to know the actual current needs of the community. Lack of knowledge of policies, like people work at a place and they don't even know the policy for their job. Burnout, people who have done good jobs and try to bring good things, getting tired of, either the people on the other side, or the people that they're trying to help, or their bosses or whatever, and they just get burnt out. They're tired. Or just people who've been working so long that they, see everything the same, or they can't, really distinguish between individual cases. Personal vendettas or hang-ups, people get mad at people, or for whatever reasons, and they hold that against them in their exchange, in their business exchange. Conflicts of interest. Examples: being related to or hanging in certain circles where going against said circle is highly doubtful, even when job policy requires it, such as groups of lawyers, judges, customer service, people in those areas, all hanging out, going to lunch together. Public defenders, everybody goes to lunch together, everybody talks together, everybody went to school together, everybody's parents grew up here, and everything, and that makes it hard for you to get real justice. You know what I'm saying? Because If all these people hung out together, grew up together, everything, they're friends. They're not going to go at each other like they should in defense of one person. You know what I'm saying? To defend that person adequately. They're going to go with their friend, what their friend said, and then they're going to, do all these little things that they do, and that's a conflict of interest. Lack of practical ability to perform job requirement adequately, meaning unable to do what it takes in real time to handle a job well. So for example, like some people have grown out of their jobs. Some people have lost the mental capacity that it would take to adequately do their job. Some people aren't fit to hold the job position that they have as far as their health or their body, and different things like that, which cause people to not be doing their jobs right, which cause them in these critical areas to be actually causing more harm than help. When you get into certain positions, especially in government and social service, you have to be fit for whatever job you're getting into, because you're actually getting into these jobs to say that you're going to hold authority over somebody, that you know better than somebody, that you're able to do better than somebody. So you actually should be able to do better than them. You know what I'm saying? Practical solutions for organizations could look like hiring individuals that have passion for their job purpose, not just those wanting or needing a check. Firing those who don't follow policy as needed to fit in current purpose. Design for and let so updating policies, as needed to fit current purpose that it was designed for, and letting employees know about the updates, making sure they're comprehending, maintaining professional by the book practices for everyone, so everybody has a fair chance to get their stuff done. Know that holding a job, especially in a leadership capacity, puts a bigger burden on you to do things correctly. So don't try to hold the person like, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. No, did you do all of your job? Because they may need help, they may need guidance, they may need to fix some stuff. But your job says that you know how to do the shit. So you should be doing the shit exactly right. And they should be, if anybody's getting a pass, getting the understanding. You know what I'm saying? Getting tired or overwhelmed is not abnormal. Having a space to get clear or get help is ideal. If it's too much for you, if you one lawyer and you got 73 cases and you gonna try to hurry up and mark everybody out of there and get everybody a little plea deal and get people jail time, they ain't never been in jail, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, then tell them you need a break, tell them you need a helper, sign somebody else on, open that door up a little bit so that people can start getting real justice, so that they can feel like you're leading well and they can be good. Leave personal opinions or old discrepancies at the door. Let businesses be businesses. And when this cannot be reasonably done, get someone else to do the job. If you know you have a vendetta against somebody, if you know that you were the lawyer in the case against the baby daddy, and then you was the lawyer for the baby mama, and you done been in the CPS court, and you done been to paternity court and everything else, and you know these people, and you don't really like these people, get somebody else to do it. You get somebody else to do it. That's a conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest. It's not fair. Regular performance ability checks, training, and conversations on what is good and needing work, and in reasonable time, assessments of need for employees' continuance. So checking at a regular intervals to make sure that these people are still competent and are still able to do their job and are still doing their job. You know what I'm saying? That helps people, stay on point. You always need an accountability partner to stay on point and make sure that practices aren't getting slimmed down on. And this is what brings top communities up. They have these type of things. This is what brings up competition, competitive, working, where people don't slack off and get so old that all of our representatives is talking like this and they're looking like this the whole time. And we wondering why, people looking at the town like this, even though we have such talent, such greatness in our town, because we're allowing representatives to represent us that don't represent us. So, regular performance and ability checks and training to create that competitive spirit, which will allow for people who really shine to take positions, because they like, it's something to compete for. It's not just like, no, I'm not about to go up there and kill all them like that. It ain't even no competition. You know what I'm saying? So these are good things, that we should be working on to bring up our community. And in response, okay, on what is good and needing work, so talking about what's good, what we can keep doing, and what we should work on, you know what I'm saying? And then in reasonable time assessments of need for employees continuance. Also, some jobs are really jobs that you get into because you want to fix something or you want to help something or whatever. You should be trying to work yourself out of a job in that instance, okay? So you need a backup plan. Don't make that your job forever. You should be trying to work yourself out of a job in that instance, meaning you should do your job so fucking good that that job no longer needs to be done because you solved the fucking problem. If you did not solve that fucking problem, then your job ain't done. But if you did, don't go digging for more and more and more about what it is. You did your job, get a new job, get a new cause. If you go to somebody's house and you take their kids because they beat their kids' ass and their kids got a big ass black eye, okay? When you get them anger management or whatever and they've been tested for a while, ain't beating them kids and shit like that, okay? Don't worry about if they smoke cigarettes. That ain't none of your business. You did your job. Don't keep trying to dig at a person's lifestyle because nobody has the recipe for a perfect lifestyle for another human being. So if you doing something, do it because it needs to be done. And when you get done, don't try to find a reason to keep yourself invested like a probation officer or something. Don't try to keep yourself invested in somebody's life who don't need you. Now, if they need you, they need you. But if they don't need you, get out of their job. And then after people have also gotten so to such a point of old age or uncurrent, completely uncurrent in their capacity of work, you need to assess if you still need them. Sometimes jobs get wiped out. Okay, somebody might be working here for 70 years. Okay, but we don't even use paper no more. So why do we still have them in there writing this shit down by paper? Now, some people do need paper. That's just an example. But if the job has been eliminated, eliminate that person. Because charging me an extra $50, $60 because you got to pay this person, that's not right. Because their job shouldn't even be there if that's all they do. Okay. Learn policy pertaining to your need, asking questions and escalating processes when needs aren't met. This is for the client's point of view. Some practical applications for the client's point of view when you experiencing these adversities. Learn the policy pertaining to your need. Ask them people that you're talking to questions respectfully, and learn if it's not going well. Learn what you can get out of it, what you supposed to get out of it, what they supposed to do. And always know when you go into a place what you come to get out of it. So if any weird sideways talking getting going on, you know exactly why you're there. And if you don't walk out with that, then you know you failed. If you walk out with that, then you know you accomplished what you came to accomplish. And escalation processes when needs aren't met. Ask for the manager. Ask for the name of the name of the authorized representative. I think that's what it's called. Ask for the legal name of the business, so that you can continue to escalate, so that you can search, because sometimes a business is one thing, but the legal name that you would search by is a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Ask for numbers, ask for names when you go in these places, so that when you have a negative experience, you have somebody to tie it to, and you can be extremely clear on what you've experienced, because sometimes our lack of clarity or the ability to communicate what we've experienced hinders our ability to get justice or to get done what we need to get done. So just be aware of that. What's your name? Whatever, anything, to keep a record of that and to start holding them accountable for that shit, and to start making them say that shit instead of acting like they don't hear you or not giving you that shit. We need to normalize identifying they ass like they identify our ass. Report respectfully when treated in violation of policy or agreement. When somebody pissed you off or they not giving you the information or they acting a fool, record it if you can, get a name if you can, get a time and a date of when they were there in case they don't give you none of that. But do everything you do in a respectful manner. Don't ever give anybody any reason to disrespect you, call the police on you, get you locked up or anything like that. with all that you do, try not to interrupt. You know, if they're continuously going on and on, say, may I speak now, you know, so that you can get your point across. And keep your tone low, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's hurting you, keep your tone low, because what we not gonna do is get locked up for what we do. Okay, but we gonna get our stuff done and our points across. Okay, laws outdated and updating. How to change a law or how to get laws and regulations that fit your community and recourse for authorities in violation. Vote. Choose officials that you feel will best represent your needs. Second, run for office if you feel you can do what it takes to fill a position adequately. Speak up for yourself respectfully. Uh, along a lot of unfair changes affecting a people or community are only experienced by those individuals. Oh, okay. Speak up for yourself respectfully. A lot of unfair advantages affecting a people or community are only experienced by the individuals that experience them, which is sometimes a small number spread out through different areas. So if you experience something you feel should be handled, handle it yourself. Expecting someone it doesn't adversely affect to handle or fix it is reaching. You know, people that don't experience what you experience, they don't experience it. They can't understand it. As I've said before, sometimes stuff happens in the spirit that is not happening to somebody else. So you have to be able to communicate what's happening with you, or what, and be able to communicate what you need, and follow through with the processes that you start. Okay, learn how to use your voice and advocates. Okay, people that can speak for you. If somebody know your situation, they speak well, get them to say it. Posted below is a process for getting new and changing laws. Hold on. No, it's not. Don't listen to that part. I ain't finished that part. But I had to get some of this stuff out there. When people, okay, so yeah, so that's that. So that's like the update or whatever. And I'm just gonna leave it like that because I don't want to add too much to it or take too much away from it. It said what it said. So yeah, have a blessed day or whatever.